स्वच्छ भारत का इरादा इरादा कर लिया हमने देश से अपने ये वादा कर लिया हमने।
एक पवित्र सी हवा बहेगी,
उज्ज्वल उज्ज्वल हो भारत,
कोना कोना निर्मल होगा,
विश्व कहेगा जय भारत।
जाग उठेंगे भाग्य हमारे, स्वच्छ बनेगा ये भारत।
स्वच्छ भारत का इरादा इरादा कर लिया हमने देश से अपने वादा कर लिया हमने, वादा कर लिया हमने, वादा कर लिया
Goa is an ideal holiday destination for its beautiful beaches, old Portuguese architecture, rich culture and local cuisines. The city of Panaji attracted over 50 lakh tourists in 2015. So how does the city manage to remain so clean? Where does all the waste go? How is it treated? Of the 7 metric tons of waste that the city generates each day, 70 to 80% is segregated and further treated, while only 20% is dumped. Goa stands as a shining example for other tourist cities of India on how it uses a multi-pronged strategy to manage its solid waste. So let's see how they do it.
We are a tourist city. Waste keeps increasing by the day, especially during the festive and holiday seasons when lots of tourists come. Huge amount of waste is deposited. Panjim kept on dumping. It was one rainy day that this whole huge dump site collapsed. There was a landslide of garbage into the adjoining villages. There were protests, there were marches. People stopped us from dumping. Villagers were up in arms as the fields were inundated, the wells were polluted. All these things happened. That was the time Panjim took a decision that we will not dump. We will start an alternate model of waste management, which would involve segregation.
Goa's capital, Panaji, lies on the banks of the Mandovi River estuary. The city has a population of over 110,000 people in the metropolitan area. This is Goa's largest urban agglomeration. The city introduced segregated waste management a few years ago to keep up with its growing population and huge tourist numbers. But solid waste management continued to be an issue. This was when the city introduced the Bin Free campaign in 2003. It is an advanced waste segregation program that the city has successfully implemented. It included sustained awareness campaigns, waste segregation, treatment, and safe disposal across the city.
We cannot recover 100% of the expenditure that is incurred, but as of now I can say that about 30 to 35% of the expenditure that is incurred on the entire solid waste management is recovered. Today for a residential unit we charge 1 rupee per day. Now it is linked to a property tax, so annually you pay 365 rupees on the basis, whereas commercial establishments have been grouped on the quantum of waste generated. It varies from 600 rupees per month to about 12 to 15,000 rupees per month. So the corporation earns between 2 to 2.5 crores annually.
Panaji introduced dry and wet waste segregation throughout the city when the campaign was launched. It further segregated dry waste into plastics, paper, glass and other waste like foil. This colony is one of the many in Panaji that segregates waste into dry and wet at the household level. They have employed workers who further segregate the waste and put them into 4 dustbins that have been provided by the Corporation of Panaji. The waste is segregated as per rules set by the corporation. The collection vehicles then take the segregated waste to the sorting sheds.
Way segregation started. So the society worker was taught how to put it into 4 bins, and the 4 bins were 1 for plastic, 1 for glass, 1 for paper, and 1 what would not go into these 3. And in some colonies they had a 5th one, that is because Goa is a place where we use a lot of coconut. So things of coconut to be put into that bin.
The societies have also set up their own composting units, and at present there are 110 decentralized composting units in residential societies.
In 2002, we asked the municipality to make the new housing complexes which came up, make it compulsory that they have their composting stations there, and then only give them the no objection certificate for their occupancy. So this started, and so people, when they started coming to live there, they had the composting station with them and they had to do with it. So this, enforcing it and making it compulsory, people learned to live with it.
The door-to-door collection system collected biodegradable waste on a daily basis and non-biodegradable waste twice a week. The wet waste is composted and non-biodegradable is sent to the centralized sorting center located at St. Ines, Panaji. Here the waste is segregated manually and then sold to recycling units throughout the country. Plastic is segregated into different categories. All of this waste is compressed with machines and then sold. Goa also generates a lot of glass bottles. These are segregated into categories like size, brand, color, etc. The bottles are piled in heaps in the sorting shed and then sold to the recyclers. Non-recyclable waste is baled and forwarded to cement companies in Karnataka. The rejects from the sorting center are transported and dumped to one of the temporary sites located in the city. The Bin Free campaign in 2003 was part of an initiative called Together for Panjim, which was launched to improve sanitary conditions in the city. It was started with 60 households in the initial stages and was called Mission Chakachak. Under this initiative, the following strategies were adopted for the solid waste management in the city. Household bins with screw-on lids were designed in order to prevent spillage of garbage. Segregation at source was initially introduced as wet and dry segregation into 2 bins. Trolley bins replaced community bins as an intermediate stage of transfer. Modifications were made in the hydraulic arm of the garbage trucks. This enables easy transfer of waste from the trolley bin into the truck without manual intervention.
We introduced door-to-door collection and the first level of segregation, that is wet and dry fraction of the waste. Now, after having introduced this system, now we had to deal with processing and treating waste. That is where the decentralized mechanism or the system came into place.
Currently, segregation by the corporation is undertaken in 8 streams of waste, which is wet, paper, plastic bags, plastic bottles, metals and glass, non-recyclable, Tetra Paks and cardboard. They have designated color coding for each stream. The corporation took several measures to address existing issues. A solid waste management cell was formed in the COP, headed by a waste management officer. A sanitary inspector who's in charge of 15 supervisors heads the field services. 2 color-coded bins were distributed to every household in the city of Panaji. Black for dry waste and green for wet waste. This made it easier to identify for both the residents and the waste collectors. Material recycling stations have been established within residential areas for segregation of dry waste. This reduces the handling at the centralized recovery center. The existing number of centralized composting units were insufficient to process the biodegradable waste. Land for composting, besides, was scarce. Therefore, decentralized composting units were constructed for converting wet waste into manure. The wet waste is crushed in the OWC machines with the pre-compost and left to culture for a month or till it is ready for use.
There are community composting units as well as society composting unit. Whatever compost is generated after sieving, final product, corporation sells it at a 10 rupee a kilo. If somebody buys it above a ton, it goes to a 4 rupee a kilo.
Hotels were also asked to install decentralized composting units, like this particular unit at the Taj Vivanta, where their daily organic waste is composted. They use the final product in their gardens or even sell it to the corporation of the city of Panaji. Other hotels have been given coded green bags for organic waste. Each hotel has a number assigned which is printed on these bags. This makes it easier for the corporation to levy fines on hotels that are not segregating their waste. This segregated organic waste is collected separately in compactors by the corporation and taken to the centralized composting plant where it is treated. E-waste and thermocol are collected separately. A thermocol compaction machine called Styropack was purchased, which forms big squares of thermocol that are sold to recyclers at 5 rupees per kilo. But sanitary waste from households is still a big concern for the corporation of Panaji. Currently, it is being stored in heaps at the centralized sorting shed. Incineration is not an option, as the Pollution Control Board refuses to give a heads up to burn this waste. The authorities are still working on an eco-friendly way to treat this difficult waste.
The corporation has proposed for an integrated solid waste management facility. The land has been acquired for it. Now, the proposed facility would have a material recovery facility for the non-biodegradable waste component, where we would segregate or sort out waste into about 20 to 25 fractions so that I can recycle waste. Another component of that facility is the anaerobic digestion system, by which you would generate biogas and turn it into electricity or convert into electricity, so that you can operate the plant on the electricity that gets generated. And third component would be the landfill only for disposal of inert waste.
The corporation made sure that their workers go into each and every part of the city, be it a slum or a well-established residential society. If the households don't segregate, the waste collectors don't pick up the garbage. This gives them a sense of responsibility towards their city, making sure that no waste is mixed and the city remains clean. The bin-free campaign has proven to be a great success. But even after all these efforts, the corporation has identified a few garbage spots in the city.
Most of the panchayats in areas, there is no waste management system. So the people from the neighboring panchayat, they come in the city. So they dump a mixed waste at a particular spot. So corporation have to put our own people there on the spot to sort it out, because corporation does not have any site where it can take a mixed waste. So it is necessary where the corporation can put their workers on the spot to sort it out, then it taken to the respective facilities.
These spots are referred to as black spots. There are 35 such spots in the city of Panaji. The beautiful city of Panaji has been able to achieve a high level of waste segregation. Treatment and segregation of this waste has added a large amount to the financial pool of the Corporation of Panaji. Its decentralized waste management system has advanced beyond that of the country's major metropolitan cities. It is now for cities like Delhi and Mumbai, with their huge resources, to match this achievement in solid waste management.